Well, there's a little bit of snow maintenance to have been done this morning. Need to keep the snow off these nets, although this wire hoop system works incredibly well because under the weight it just bends and it's like a sprung steel. It works perfectly. I've seen many a video where people are suffering from snow on nets breaking the frames of their beds, and this method seems to get past that problem, which is great. So I finished off clearing the snow from the polytunnel. Just used a soft bristle brush just to get the rest off, and snow's forecast all day, so I'll just keep an eye on it. Well, it sure is an awful lot lighter in here now. Not that I've got any plants that are really needing it. I've got the broad beans in, of course, but they won't even be out of the soil yet. The rosemary certainly won't struggle with the low light today. It might well be a challenge today to get work done on the plot, but it's going to be a sunny day. Just look at those mountains. Beautiful. Right, it's chicken time first thing this morning. Get some water in their water feeders. Make sure they got plenty of food. The pond's looking doubtful. We'll see. Well, one thing that this bright sunshine and snow is good for is seeing where I've got things I need to prune. These bramble runners really show up because they're bright green against the white snow. So I'm going to use this opportunity to work my way through and see if I can remove some of this. I'm sure when I've got it all out, I'm going to have quite a pile. And then I'm really warming to the plan of having the chickens in here. I'm gonna have to get a straight line down that edge because that corner black currant bush tends to overlap the edge of this square area quite considerably. So I think I'm gonna have to do some serious pruning of that, but I'm not worried about that. That black currant bush is pretty ancient, and the branches that are overlapping the edge are very old and not really fruit bearing, so I'm going to take those out, I think. So this is a bit like getting spaghetti out of a bowl. I'm going to carry on and see if I can get it knocked out. Well, that's made a very significant difference to this area. I can certainly see the ground now fairly clearly. I think this bush, which just runs rampant and I've tried to tame year after year, I think it's coming out, but probably not today because the ground is so frozen. So I'm going to move this bed out of the way. I keep moving this around. Haven't found a final home for it yet, but I'm working on it. And I think next is taking out a line here so I can get a fairly straight edge if I put a fence in here and keep the chickens in this area for a while. So let's get this fella moved. I've got plans for that pole. I'm thinking if I do have some sort of wraparound fence, then having 2 stakes in this corner will give me a firm edge just to pull it round and keep everything taut. So I might well be using that one, although I'll have to find another one somehow. So let's get this straight edge in. I've had a change of gloves because those were wet and the tips of my fingers were getting pretty numb. So pays to have a straight edge when you're doing this. So let's get that in. Just see where we go. So in an ideal world, I'd like to come across this far, but the base of that blackcurrant bush is just too dense and the plant's too far over. So it looks like I'm going to come into about here, and that'll give me a guide as to where to cut. So let's have a go. It's not a bad time of year to do this. The plant's pretty dormant and it means that all the energy will be going into the other branches, and there's a lot of new shoots on this where I pruned it hard last year. This wood is very woody indeed because it's very old. And these secateurs are pretty good at going through pretty much anything. I think we'll take this one out fairly low down. And stand back and have a look. And that's going to work quite well, I think. Right, we'll just get those few clippings into the barrow, and then I think this area is done for today. Well, I've decided to have a paddle. My boots are pretty good and I want to get this shelf out. It's beautiful weather, so I'm just going to put up with a little bit of wet in here and see if I can shape the edge of this pond, get the shelf that I want to put the rocks on. So the idea is that this area around here is going to have fairly substantial rocks in it. Then I'm going to have a bit of a level, take the edge out of the squash bed just a little, and then have some rocks at the back there. I won't put the rocks in until I've got a membrane that's going down. I may end up using these old membranes and replacing the top one, but we'll see how we get on. I'm quite excited. Let's go. Well, that's shaping up nicely. Those ledges are working out just fine. And I need to back the rocks right up to the edge of the squash bed and lay them in that crescent there. I need to get a little bit of this away probably, but it just depends how many of those large rocks I've got. There's quite a few up there. So the priority will be this first ledge, and then we'll see what we can do with the back. But we need stability because you don't want that squash bed collapsing in any way. So it's going to have to be a fair share, I guess. Well, I'm going to leave that just to settle, and the next step will be another day, and that'll be to put some membrane down the steps and into the pond. But I'd like to get that empty, and as you can see at the moment, well, it looks like a chocolate drink with ice in it. So we need that to run away. Once I've got the membrane going down in, I can get the liner in, and that'll be a really good step. Well, that's it for today. It's a beautiful day, but there's a limit to what I can do on here at the moment. I'd like to get those paving stones down, but still can't get in the gate, so that'll wait for another day. Thankfully, the polytunnel is getting rid of the snow on its own. Well, the sun's getting rid of it, and it's coming down in slabs. So that's one job we don't have to do. One thing I have started today is bringing the onions over. So this is the first ones, and this is the zebrain. They're looking pretty ropey, I have to say, but we'll get them under that cloche and see how they go. I do hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and if you want updates from me each time I upload a video, click the bell and select all. I do hope you have a great day. Diolch yn fawr.